the secret to everything you want to know. Folks, I have a very small channel, but I've been doing this for a very long time. You can see how old my videos are. Uh, I am, I talk to a lot of other people who have very big channels even, okay? And this is the secret to everything you ever wanted to know. Ask. Ask. So many of the content creators out there are struggling to come up with topics. They're like, I don't know what people want to hear. I don't know what people want to know. I don't know what people would be interested in. And so if you just ask, you're more than likely going to get it. Like, that's the crazy thing. I listen to some of these people and they talk about like, I have so many things I could talk about, but I don't know which things people would even be interested in. And it's like, well, what are people asking for? And they don't. They don't even ask. It's amazing to me how many times I'll have a video that has tons of likes and there's like no comments at all. Or I make a post on Instagram and it gets a ton, I'll get, over 100 likes in the first 24 hours, which is a lot when you stop and think about the fact that I only have like 1,000 followers. And no one comments. And I guess that's the nature of things, right? I mean, I've heard this before. If people see something that they like, they just like it and move on. But if people see something that they dislike, they'll make a point to comment, right? So I disagree with this, therefore I'm going to comment. Or I hated this video, therefore I'm going to comment. But so often, if you like something, even something that I post, if you comment on it and say, hey, can you expand on XYZ? It's like, absolutely, And so I'm going to share with you the secret of all knowledge that was passed on to me years ago by a teacher, and I recognized that he was actually incorrect. So he told me that the secret of all knowledge is simply to listen. People love to talk about the things that they're passionate about. That's not a bad thing to tell someone. That's like half correct. What I realized when I was in college, though, is that isn't the secret to all knowledge. Yes, that's half of the secret. Half of the secret is to listen, because people love to talk about things that they're passionate about, okay? I was very fortunate. I was mentored by Donald Goldstein. You guys can go look him up. He wrote a number of books. The books are all published with the name Gordon Prang on them, because that was his mentor and his advisor. Prang passed away, and so Goldstein continued to, write and put Gordon Prang's name on the books, even though Donald Goldstein is the one that wrote those. Now, as I was spending so much time with Dr. Goldstein, I realized that actually the real secret to all knowledge is to ask questions. Oftentimes it's even asking the right questions. Yes, people do love to talk about what they're passionate about. I love to talk about strength. I don't care. I love everything. I love weightlifting. I love powerlifting. I love strongman. I like all the weird lifts and stuff like that. People doing, all these old school lifts, bent presses and stuff like that. I love that old time strong stuff. I even like CrossFit, actually. Okay, I'm not an anti-CrossFit person. I don't do CrossFit, but some of the stuff that they do, I look at it and I'm like, wow, that's amazing. Like, they did some kind of crazy clean and jerk ladder, and like, that's amazing how much weight these guys put up without even resting between attempts. There are things about CrossFit that are interesting, okay? I like it all. I like track and field. I like throwing. I'm terrible at it. I love it. Like, there's nothing more fun to me than trying to throw a discus or a shot put. That's a lot of fun. I like strongman. I'm terrible at it. Like, I'm small. Like, right now I'm 158 pounds. I'm not going to be picking up a 455 pound Atlas stone. Not going to happen. Boy, do I love it. I enjoy it. And I listen to guys like Luke Richardson. I listen to him talk about his training. I listen to, Eddie Hall talk about his training. I listen to any of these guys. I find it all fascinating. I love all of it. I'm very passionate about all these things. But, it's like, if you don't ask me, then I don't know which things you're even interested in. And this isn't just about me. This is about everyone. So, like, if you are watching some other channel and they're talking about some topic that you find interesting, but you wish they went deeper into some other part of it, comment, ask. People love to talk about the things that they love. I could sit and talk to you for hours about, Verkhoshansky or Mel Sif or anything like that. I love these things. So I love talking about them, but I don't know what people, there's so much stuff that I assume is common knowledge. Sometimes when people do ask me questions, I'm like, oh, I didn't realize that people didn't know that. I've been doing this for so long that I just thought everyone knew that. And so it was the other day, I made a post on Instagram about not using advanced methods with beginners. And only one person messaged me, but some person, messaged me, and they asked me, well, what are advanced methods? What do you consider to be advanced methods? And I told them which, advanced methods I think need to be kind of reserved for higher level athletes, French contrast, super maximal eccentrics, accentuated eccentric loading, stuff like that. You shouldn't use that with beginners because they don't need it yet. Okay, and the other thing to it too is that if you use those things too early, they get less out of them, and then when they do need them, they won't get the same stimulus that they would get later on in their career. This is the whole long-term athlete development thing. And so we had this great conversation, and I realized that I had this conversation with just one person, and maybe he's the only person who's interested. I don't know, but that's my point to you. If you guys want to know something, especially when you guys follow different Instagram accounts and especially smaller accounts, ask and people will tell you. It's the secret to all knowledge. The secret to all knowledge, yes, part of it is listening to people who are passionate, because people who are passionate love to talk about what they're passionate about. But the first step to that, you have to ask the question. And if you ask the question, you ask the right questions, people love to share what they love.